Hello everyone, it's Nancy here. I have my June project for Lavender Blu Journals, and I used quite a few kits from the shop. I will have everything linked below. I'll try to introduce them to you as I go through so that you know which belongs to which, but you can check them out in the shop, and I'll have all the links below just like always. This one is really pretty. I'm really happy with it, and as always, it was so much fun to make. I used a heavy textured cardstock for the cover, and because it's a tall skinny, I did a wrap on the front of it. I have two signatures in this album. This is the back, the front. Here I used Martha Stewart Deep Edge Punch. The whole theme is kind of stitching and sewing, but not only. So I thought that worked really well. There's touches of lace in here as well as a lace wrap just to keep it closed. I like flaps like this because you can grow your album and it'll just fit no matter how much stuff you put in it. I didn't add too much, yet there's a lot in here anyways. So let's look. This is just such a pretty collection. This is the Tatty lace collection. It's got pages that have embroidery with the lace background, and then it's got other pages that are just lace. Here on the inside front cover, I used the same cardstock that I used for the cover, and I just created a couple of pockets. I added a touch of lace on the bottom of each pocket, a word from the label's words, and then a fussy cut image. All the little fussy cut images are from the Vintage Pink Sewing Kit. I didn't use any of the papers from that collection, but the ephemera was just perfect for this, including the tags. So there's a really pretty tag, and I'm kind of a matchy-matchy person, so I tended to put the same image in the pocket that had they match. The image on the outside and the image on the tag, they match. And then for the topper, I just put a piece of lace and tied it with a piece of embroidery floss. These papers with the embroidery, they come in several colors in the collection. There's this with a creamy background. The front cover has a blue background. So they're really nice to work with other things. Here are some of the lace pages. I add a strip of lace, a little tuck at the top. And then I'm not sure which photo collection I used, but it was also from Lavender Blu, and I'll put the link below. These I just added as a tuck spot, just another nice vintage touch to the album. And, you know, if it's a sewing theme, you can say this is the outfit I made, or this is the person that made it. This page is from the, I think that's the Vintage Bits. There are some in different colors that just really worked well with all the different colors in this journal. So that's one of those. Here's another lace page. This is another one of the Vintage Bits. I just added a lace pocket to the bottom, a little piece of lace with a safety pin tucked in. And this one came from the Vintage Letters and Documents. So that's blank on the back. It was actually a misprint, and you know I like to use my misprints. So there's lots of room for journaling on the back, and that just tucks into the lace pocket, which really goes well with the lace pages. Here's another little fussy cut, another one of the Vintage Bits papers, this time in pink. A tuck spot with room for hidden journaling under there. Now these pages are from Collage and Lace, and they're gorgeous collage pages. And then this is also from that collection because there's touches of those in there, and there's just all kinds of ephemera bits. These would be great for making clusters or anything like that, and I just had to add them in here. Here's another Vintage Bits. This one has the green background. Blouse pins, another hidden journaling with a piece of lace and a little wee safety pin. These are my old Making Memories safety pins. I bought so many when they had them, and I just keep using them on projects. I added two coffee stain pages in here. Here's just a little envelope from the collection. I just clipped it on its own, and inside is just a piece of coffee stained paper. This is another one from the Vintage Letters and Documents. And this one I really like. These are two separate pages with completely, similar designs obviously, but as I put them together I realized this piece matched up perfectly, so that was kind of a fun happenstance. And those are both from the collage papers. And that's I'm pretty sure that's the Vintage Letters and Documents. This is the center of the first signature, so I just left that plain as it is because it's such a cool page. There's another one of the two collage pages. Another Vintage Documents. Well, these are obviously all the other sides. Here I did a belly band with a really pretty postcard tucked in there. Another pocket with a matching tag. Here I just clipped in two photos with a paper clip, added a touch of lace across the top. Another pocket. I did all the pockets the same way with the punch. And this is the other side of that green collage paper kit. See how the greens match? It brings out the greens, and it's got lace bits. Oh, and here's a little tag from the pink sewing collection. Then I had another misprint, so I made a tall skinny envelope with that and tucked some more paper in there for journaling. Here's a little label with a tiny tag in there. Another photo, lace pages, vintage bits in blue. Another belly band with a postcard in it. The lace pages are so gorgeous, and it would be fun to journal on that. Everything is left empty. Lots of room for journaling in this one. Any of these lace pages would be perfect to journal. Another tuck spot with a bit of lace at the top. And that is the end of the first signature. And the second one, I've got just a little label up there. Pretty pink lace. Here it is in the blue with another touch of lace on the bottom. Another photo clipped in. Another little belly band with a tag. Here's the green lace, the green backing for the embroidery. Another pocket. This is the vintage bits in a pale green from the collage kit. This is just a tag tucked in. I didn't have another pocket, so I just clipped that in there on the page. Another tuck spot. Lace. This is pink. Pretty pink backed embroidery. Another pocket with a piece of coffee stained paper inside. This is another one from the Vintage Letters and Documents, so the pink worked perfectly with this collection. So it's nice to have all the different colors because they coordinate with so many different kits. Another of the collage, a coffee stained, and then there's a couple of these little cards that just fussy cut out and fold over, so I decided to just add a piece of lace to the bottom and clip that over a page. A little label with the tuck spot. This looks like cross stitch. That's the other side of that. And here you've got the Vintage Bits page. The pages are very similar, but they're just different colors, and they're just a nice addition to any journal. There's the center page in another pale green. Another belly band with a nice journaling card in it. This page is just a fold over coffee stained, and again I have one of these little things clipped in. Collage page. Here I have another journal card with the tag tucked in this way. Pink lace. Pretty pink embroidery. More room for lots of journaling. Here's another large journal card with a little tag tucked in. A little tuck spot there. And here we've got the other side of everything. Another pocket. This was a journal card that went this way, so I just folded that over and tucked it in this pocket. Some more vintage photos clipped onto the lace page. more embroidery, and then the inside back cover where I have another pocket and another tag that coordinates with the fussy cut. And the back cover, and that is my June journal for Lavender Blu Journals. Thanks for watching. I will have all the links below for you to check out in the shop. A big variety of papers this time and so many different ways to use them. So we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.